Hey guys, this is Purna. We are continuing React.js training session, and today we are going to discuss about routers. Before exploring the routing in React, let's understand the basic redirection technique and what is redirection and how the server-side rendering work. For example, let's visit the money control website. Here we'll understand how the server-side routing works. So if you see here the money control website, right? So the global market page is loaded, right? So if I click on Indian indices, so you can see there is a new page opening. So let me click back to that global market. So you can see the page is refreshing. So one interesting thing with server-side redirection we can notice, right? So whenever I'm clicking on the link, the entire page is reloading, and you can notice that in the title of this browser or this particular icon. So let me click one more time the Indian indices. So you can see that refresh button is continuing, and it is become the cross mark, right? And now the page is loaded. So this is how the server-side rendering works. So basically, when we click on any of the links, it's basically goes to the servers and come up with a new page as redirections out. Here the drawback is whole page is loading, even though this header sections are like static for all the cases, but we are loading everything. Here is one more example using React. In React routing, basically it doesn't refresh the entire page. So let's say I'm in home page, and if I click on the about, you can notice here there is nothing is changing. So let me click on the login. So there is no changes happen. It just the header part is constant, and this component section is loading. So in React routing, it just refresh the portion of the page, or you can say a particular component is refreshed based on your redirection request. So the address is changing here, but it is not reloading that entire page. It's only refreshing this piece of component. Let's go back to the PPT. So today we are going to discuss about React router, various components in routing techniques, and we'll also explore that entire things in the example. So what is React router? So React router is a popular standard library for routing among various view components in React application. It helps keep the user interface in sync with the URL. In addition, the React router allows defining which view to display for a specific URL. So this router is basically used to switch the view based on the request or the navigation request, and React router allow defining which view to display for a specific URL. The three main packages related to React routers are React router, React router DOM, and React router native. So what is React router package then? So this contains the core functionality of React router, including route matching algorithm and hooks. There are various hooks comes with React router package for history or some other stuff. So this basically provides the core routing engine. And what is React router DOM then? So this includes everything in React router and adds a few DOM specific APIs. So basically this React router DOM is used for the web application to apply this React router techniques. And React router native, so this basically used for you to build your native React native application, and this provides the React router with adding few native specific APIs. So in order to use router for a web applications that we are learning, right? So we have to use this React router DOM package. So first what we have to do, so first we have to install this npm install React router DOM, so that this React router and this DOM package will be available, and we can do rest of the things. So what are the various components in routing that we need to use in order to achieve that routing functionality, right? So basically there are a few components like BrowserRouter, route, link, or NavLink. So we can use one of these. So this 3/4 component that pretty much used in order to use the routing in React. So what is BrowserRouter basically? It's a router to use in a web browser, and the BrowserRouter component to create a base router. Anything outside this component will render on every page. Okay, so initially we discussed, right? So reactrouter basically provide a mechanism based on the URL, basically the browser URL. So it show the specific view, right? So if you will not keep anything inside this browser router, those parts will render in every page, irrespective of your navigation. So just to control that particular view to view for a URL, so the everything should come under this browser router. This is basically the parent component used for your routing techniques. Okay. Then routes. So routes is a new component introduced in version 6 that replaced the switch component comes with the previous version basically. And this is a container. Basically the routes is a container for a nested tree of root element that renders the branch that best matches the current location. So routes is the container under this browser router parent component, and this is kind of a placeholder where we are going to place a lot of routes, and that routes will have a URL and the mapping to the specific element, or you can say the component, right? So what is root? Then declare an element that should be rendered at a certain URL path. So basically the URL path that we are defining. And there are few components that link and NavLink. So link, this is used to set the URL and keep track of the browsing history. So link is basically, it will generate the anchor tag, that hyperlink that you can see. And when you click on the link, it will come to this routes and render the particular view. What is NavLink then? So a link wrapper, basically this is an extension of your link component. Along with it will show whether it is active or inactive. So when you click on a link, right, there are multiple links are there. Just think about a header where a navbar you are using from the Bootstrap. And when you click on a particular link, it should show as active. So in order to get that whether it is active or not, that kind of status to show, we can use NavLink instead of link. So let's come to the VS Code. We'll explore a few examples on routing. So before exploring this code in VS Code, I just want to show you the output so that we can understand what we have done using this example. So let's go back to the browser and we'll see the outcome first. So this is the outcome of that particular example, and we have a navbar. So in our previous session, we already learned about Bootstrap. So I use the Bootstrap navbar here, and in this header we have three menu link basically, and this home about link, right? So I'm using NavLink here. Based on the redirections, the particular component is loading here. So if you can see, when you click on about, you can see the about path can be seen in the address bar, and in case of login that we are seeing. So if you type something wrong URL, let's say, so it will show the page not found. Okay, so there is a page not found component is also there. So let's come to the VS Code and explore how we have implemented these things. So as I said, there are a few components that we have to use. First, we have to install the package reactrouter down, and we have to import this package, and we need to use few components. Let's say the BrowserRouter, right? So this is basically the starting container for all the routing activities. So this BrowserRouters I'm using, and I've used as alias as router so that there will be no confusion again. So this is my router component that I have used. Under that, I have a header. Okay, so this header is nothing but that navigation navbar is placed, and I have two more components that I'm using from reactrouter down. So routes and route. So this routes, basically this is a collection of route, individual route basically. So home, you can see, right, this is the default path the starting path of your web application. And when there is a matches there for /about, then this will call the about component. And for login, it is calling the login component. So it has two notable properties for this route attribute, like path and element. So in path, you have to define a particular URL path, and element that you are including one component. And whenever there is no match of all this predefined path, at last we can put something default basically. So other than this 3 defined root, anything comes that will show the page not found component. Okay. So now let's see the header component. So in header, basically I'm using NavLink, and we have also a link. So I'm not using this link component because I need to have a active hover kind of indications needed. So I'm using this NavLink. This is a navbar component from Bootstrap. Basically I'm using. So if you come to this Bootstrap website, right, how can you use the navbar component? Just search the navbar component here, and you can see the different version of navbar here. You need to use nav elements, and you need to use this Bootstrap classes basically. So there are different kind of navbar example here. You need to copy one of it and just modify according to your need. So these are different navbar. Basically I am using this navbar here. Okay. So this is the navbar component that I'm using from Bootstrap, and here is my NavLink. So this NavLink will generate a anchor tag for a hyperlink, and when we click on this NavLink, basically it will show as home, and it will navigate to this URL defined. So basically this is our home URL, and in case of about, it is calling that /. And this is the default page basically. And when it is a login click, so it will go to the login route that we have defined. Okay. So make sure whenever you are creating a navbar or any navigation link kind of stuff, so that should also place inside the BrowserRouter component. So if you see here in this router, basically it's a BrowserRouter. In this router, I have that header also. So inside the header, the navbar component is used, and I'm using routes also. So these two need to be placed inside this BrowserRouter component. Okay. So whenever there is a click on this particular link that I have defined, like home, it will go to the starting /, and if it is a about click, it will go to the /about, or login for /login. And this particular route will match, then this element will be visible. The entire concept for these things is like to show a single component based on the exact route match. Okay, so let's see what is there inside the home component. So in this home component, I have just written home and welcome to the home page. Like that, about, this is the about page, or login, this is the login page. So if you want to give some interactive kind of login page or home or some other about kind of stuff, right? So that we can design that component here directly. And this is the page not found component, and here I have written something like 404 page not found, and sorry, the page you are looking for doesn't exist. So this page not found component called when there is no specific route match is served, so it will come to the default. The page is not found. So this is how we are using the routing. So let me go back to the website one more time. Okay, you can see the output, right? So about, home, about, and login. And based on that, it is coming. And if you want to browse some other stuff other than the exact route match, then it will go to the 404 page not found page. One more thing, if you want to customize the highlighted links which is active, so that also we can do with NavLink. So let me comment out this NavLink. and I will add one more different version of navigation links where I am overriding the class name basically. So when it is active, so I just want to show this is classes like NavLink active, and the text would be red color and the background will be light. And if it is inactive, it will be just like inactive CSS, but it will have this default nav. Okay, so just see the differences here. Here the class name we are providing the bootstrap NavLink, and here we are our customized version of navigation link for active cases. Now let's see how the website behaves. Okay, so I have applied that particular link for about. So if I click on the about, that you can see, right, the background is changed to the light, and the text is red color. So if I click on login, so login basically the default one is like it is just lighting that particular login text of that menu. But if you click on the about, so it is our customized CSS applied for the active. So this is how we can customize the active inactive behavior of your nav using the NavLink. So this is all about the session today on routing in React. So we just need to practice it, and also we can have some hooks that we can use, but that is not necessary now. So we can explore that later sometime. Thank you.
Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment and share. Please subscribe my channel.